Okay, so my name is David Kanaga. I'm going to start with a little video and then keep playing that the whole time, I think.
Go now and find my car. It's up top.
Get out of the way.
Sorry.
Hey there, that's my car. You can come back now.
Cool.
Okay, so my name is David Kanaga. This video was from the GTA 5 Tsunami mod, which I did not work on, but I've added the music on top of that. And please keep the music up, too. You want to feel that more than my words, maybe, the volume. But yeah, so I worked on Proteus, Dyad, Panoramical, I had that there. But I want to talk today a little bit about my working methods that sort of leap over between that video and the games I've worked on, and this question of how to make realistic video games, in a sense. I was trying to make like a realistic GTA 5 soundtrack. And my working hypothesis for this realism is that games and music are exactly the same thing. And it doesn't matter if that's like true or not. I think that it is. But that's the hypothesis. And so I'm going to... quick for time. Okay, we're going to have 4 realisms that combined together create this sort of musical realism. It's haptic realism, musical realism, flux realism, organic realism. And we're going to watch these music objects become music substances, becoming music organisms. So we've got this egg cracking, fizzing up here. This is the music object. And again, could we please have the volume for the music a little bit louder? Thank you very much. So I'm going to put a bunch of like dogmas up on the board, and I hope that's not rude. That's just how I think, so every thing is sort of dogmatic. So haptic realism, the basic idea of this is that everything is touch. And we'll get to that in a moment. But it's good enough to start with just the function of touch in music, and this idea that no music could exist without touch. So we see these fellows playing the gamelan music here, and you know, there's a hand that's touching a hammer, and there's a hammer that's touching a mallet. All played music originates from touch, and playing is playing as long as it continues to be touched. Touch and play are like the same thing, and I think this is the same thing with games too. A couple years ago here at GDC, Richard Lemarchand was talking about affordances in a system. You know, what a system affords you access to or whatever. Like this bottle, you know, it's nice and small so I can hold it in my hand. It affords hand-holding. And the gamelan here, the mallets, afford vibration from hitting them with the... Okay, blah, 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 blah. Steve Swink, who introduced us here... No. He talks about game feel, which is basically the rhythm of affordances. Violin has a different rhythm, other stuff. Okay. Excuse me. So obviously there's all kinds of things that are touch, not just music, not just video games. But not only that, not only when we're drawing are we touching, but when we're actually like looking at a picture, we're touching that. Like the photons are bouncing off of it or whatever, hitting us in the eyeballs. When we're listening to things, our eardrums are vibrating. We're like in a gas bath right now of air, and that's just like touching us all the time. Lucretius is a philosopher, and he said everything is touch, so we can go back to that. So the dogma for this one is designing affordances, not rules, materials, not games. So ways of touching things, and materials like mud rather than chess. So the meaning of music that we use often today is a lot more specialized than it has been in history. These are the planetary melodies written out by Johann Kepler. And this was a common thing, like the old Pythagorean musical philosophy, which basically believed that mathematics, music, and cosmology were like three poles of the same thing. So basically, music doesn't require sound. It just requires time. It requires events placed in time and space. So these pieces had sound originally, but I took them out because they look nice. So Robert Flood is an alchemist. He says music is the knowledge by which all worldly things are joined by unbreakable bonds. So this is like harmony, but all things. We're not just talking about tones in harmony. So becoming a musical instrument, like turning a video game into a musical instrument, is the idea of creating harmony between the touch experience and the time structural experience. Or as I like to talk about it, coding the structures, the skeleton in a skin, a vibrating sound skin. And so Mickey Mousing, Walt Disney, you know, he was good at this, as we see. So yeah, that wasn't from the original, but that was Eric Dolphy playing on top of that. This is the dogma. For every change of state in a game, there should be a corresponding change of state in its soundtrack. This is a conversion. We're going to need to convert between space and time for this. We have a sprite sheet, which is a bunch of, 8 sprites in a row. And we turn that space into time by just putting that into motion. We see Mario on the bottom dancing. And so we already got a piece of music that just, you could imagine touching this too. Imagine touching that. You speed it up. So you can get a lot of variety just by speeding things and cutting them too. We could imagine starting from different sprites in the sheet. So, proposition. Music is the vibrational bridge between vacuous number and emotional feeling. So back to the Pythagorean idea that music and mathematics are the same thing. Mathematics, there's these ideas of number, but they don't have like vibrations on their own. But music's just the same thing, just put in a vibrational space. So of course everything is vibrating gravity, blah, blah, blah. Music, Pythagoras says this, paraphrased, music is the feelings-facing side of mathematics. Mathematics is the structure-facing side of music. So you need to study these things in tandem, and feeling is not excluded. I'm going to hand it over to some colleagues here. I'll be back.
You were born. You are living. You will die. Life is just like a river, you know. It ends when it flows into the ocean, or else it gets dried up. It is possible to dry up before making it to the ocean, you know. This book is lovely. The Principles of Psychology. Flux, flux, flux.
So flux is the key idea. Excuse me. Both objective and subjective worlds are characterized by flux. So this is like even more grain than touch is. Touch and flux. This is key.
Realistic, but not at code level. These are felt variables, you know, phenomenological.
I don't know if she's intelligible here.
Indeed, what is possible at one moment is not necessarily possible the next.
That's right, that's what a game is. But life is more fun, and it is more wild and shifty, you know.
And what about music?
Once the possibility space is made to shift, it is impossible to keep considering music stuff as a hard-edged object. Gone are the music sprites. They have melted. They have become liquids, substances.
The study of music in light of shifting possibility spaces turns to all matter in its solid, liquid and gaseous forms. Liquid is of special interest, being at the edge of chaos, as it were. It is between stillness and chaos, more or less viscous.
Besides, we are inside of music. It is not in front of us, like a picture, going away if we turn around or close our eyes. No, music is like a bath, and we have to dry off after to get away from it.
Yes, it is very wet, don't you see? Just like the air is a gas bath that we are in now, music is also bath, and so it must be called music substance.
I disagree. Music is an organism, as Professor Whitehead has so keenly pointed out. It is a living being, or a becoming, Fluxus Max. DavidKanaga.com/Our-Over-2D has more to say on this. I know, Orion Hermes have honest clues to give.
Indeed, an organism is not just one substance, but is a vessel of many substances experienced as a unity. Such is the nature of the organism of coupled human body and video game.
It is as true to say that the player is permanent and the game fluent, as that the game is permanent and the player is fluent.
It is as true to say that the player transcends the game, as that the game transcends the player. There is only one game. You were born, you are living, you will die.
So, the organism, the music organism, is the end of the sequence of object, substance,
One game,
organism.
many players. One player, many games.
One player, many games. Everything has a life to it. That's the idea, right? This thing, I could break this bottle cap, and that would be the end of its life as an individual thing. So we need to tune into life, I think, or I want to. Back to this. So yeah, nature is full of so many beautiful processes, and we can just like change the rhythms of them as much as we want. This is what, 30 years here or whatever. We can squash that into 30 seconds, and that's what video games are really great at. Take the Newtonian mechanics of it or whatever, not of the body, but take the mechanics that scientists are doing and then make them faster, make them slower, whatever. And then get out and listen to the whole body. This is what I've been excited about recently. I love video games, but trying to feel the whole body, not just the fingertips of the game, but feeling it biting wood, right? And trying to listen to that and listening to these non-human teachers, because non-humans are playing things like games all the time, but they aren't structured by rules in the same way. That's really playful. The dolphins, coyotes, and other non-animals too, but I didn't have enough time to put those in there. Final dogma is play everything. Smash the egg, right? So here's some links. The top link there is some stuff I've written about Infinite Sketchpad, which has more of these ideas stretched out over like 12 hours. Goes by quick, excuse me. But thank you very much for watching. I hope the bots were audible too. They were hard to hear up here. Thank you.